Diaper bike. What are they? Do we need them? Will they make us faster? These are the questions I want answer to. No, but in all seriousness, I myself have made a 1,000 mile review of the ELVES FALATH EVO that I have received a couple months ago. Unbeknownst to me, Mr. Hambini has released a video on the day after I finished putting it together. The day I rode the bicycle and filmed everything, the next day he put out a video called Diaper Bike, which is just the amazing thumbnail I've ever heard. He says a play on words, a hyper bike. But again, I actually know Hambini. We talk, and I respect him as a professional, and also respect him as a YouTuber as well. But in all seriousness, I want to give you guys a full-on, honest opinion of the ELVES FALATH EVO, the goods, the bads, and why I feel like it. What I feel from this bicycle. I own a bicycle store. I do not sell them in my bike shop. The frame was sent out to me for free, with nothing more than just a one-time video, but I ended up doing like 3 videos on the bike. I was very impressed by it for what it was. So I want to give you guys a full-on review of this bicycle for where this bicycle is meant to thrive in a flat stage of a state, and it's an aero bike that's meant to go really fast. So before I just release the video, I want to kind of address some of the things that Mr. Hambini said in this video. And again, with all due respect to him, I believe whatever he does, like him or not, if you think he's too cynical, if you think he's too negative in things, I think that whether or not the company agrees that they're listening or not, whenever he speaks on YouTube, I think the manufacturers take his word with a grain of salt, and they're listening to what he says to make his products better. So I think he's good overall for the cycling industry, whether you like him or not, because of the fact that whatever company he is talking about, if they agree with it or not, they're going to go into the boardroom or the meeting room next day, and they're going to talk about how can we make this better as a whole, collectively. So I do think that what he does for the cycling community is good as a whole. On the other hand, I do also think that he can be very, very ruthless, but that is his YouTube style, and that is how he gets his name, and people respect him for that. He speaks and says exactly what he wants with an extra bit of salt on top of it whenever people are crying about it. So basically, in the bicycle video, he went through the whole bicycle talking about the bottom brackets were not spec to size, that they were bigger than what they are, which they were. Also, there are voids or pieces of carbon in the head tube or headset bearing area where it was actually extra layers of carbon fiber. Talked about the paint as well, and then talked about other YouTubers who did the bicycle and were wondering if they got paid by ELVES for the video. Again, I wasn't brought up in this video, but just full disclosure, like I said, I was not paid by it. But looking back at my videos, when I said that I really did enjoy the actual look of the bicycle, I thought that the bicycle, for what it was, for a $1,300 frame, it looked very nice and had very high-end finishes. He said the paint looked really bad. The paint on my bicycle was phenomenal to me. The green to bronze chameleon, he said that the ELVES logo looked like it was going to scratch off or fade off. Let me grab my bike. Okay, this is going to be difficult, but here is the logo of my frame right here. And this is on or painted over. It looks like the logo is put on there and then maybe clear coat over, but the paint job for a $1,300 frame is phenomenal to me. I mean, I've worked on plenty of bikes that were way more money that had less quality paint jobs than this. Now, also going back and looking at some of my old videos, I also screenshot this just to show that I'm fair. Here is the bearing race, or the place where you put the head tube bearing. I'm sorry, my mind is fried. I had a long day at work. And notice here we have the exact same things which Hambini was talking about right here, which looks like some carbon fiber sticking off of where the headset bearing will be at. Again, to me, seeing bicycles way worse than this in the bicycle industry by bigger brand names out there. I've built bicycles from BMC, Trek, Specialized, Scott, Pinarello, Colnago. Everyone will bring their bicycle to me, whether or not I sell the bicycle or not. And I've done builds throughout the years, over 12 years of building bicycles. And I've seen way worse and more expensive companies. So this, to me, is not the end of the world. Now, in terms of Hambini's perfection, he's an engineer. If you have ever met an engineer before in your life, they scream perfection. They want it to be done the correct way, and they expect everything to be one of one. Like, they literally built the whole bicycle all the way through, and that's done. These frames are produced on a great scale and a mass production. So yes, ELVES can learn from this and make this much more cleaner. But in the realm of it, the whole point of these bicycles in my mind was that we're paying a $1,300 price tag for a full carbon fiber aero bike that's UCI legal, that's supposed to compete with these hyper bikes or diaper bikes. It's on sale for $1,100. So this type of stuff you can kind of be okay with because of the fact you're getting a value of a bicycle and you're not paying a $5,500 price tag or a $3,500 price tag for a frame set alone. You understand? So that was the whole idea behind why I got excited for these frames in the YouTube area, is because of the fact that you're more acceptable to these types of things because of the fact that you're not paying that premium price tag and it's all about the value to worth of money. So in that realm, to me, still, this frame set for everything that's worth to get an ELVES brand name with a 5-year warranty on here, and you get a backing by kind of a big name. They're actually taking off in London as well and being like different represented. It's UCI legal, and it's a cool looking bicycle with the custom paint job options. Whereas a open mold carbon fiber frame on AliExpress is $500. You pay $5 more, you get all this. Yes, I'm expecting some imperfections. I'll just be honest with you. The bottom bracket area where you said that the tolerances were wider than normal, they should be 46 even. They were 46.1. That is not my realm of expertise. I've seen frames again with way worse bottom brackets than that. And I've seen people just say, screw it. They bought it used and they want me to fix it with some epoxy and a press fit bottom bracket. By all means, that's the customer's point of view. Here is the ELVES frame with a NovaTride OSPW or a bottom bracket. I did not use the bottom bracket they gave me. This is a NovaTride full constructed hybrid ceramic bottom bracket that goes into the frame and they thread into each other, and it's a press fit. So it's a metal machine BB. It was very tight to get inside of there. And I did use an epoxy that we used to use for metal cups into carbon fiber frames that holds it and settles in nice. You can also use, like Hambini said, a retaining compound. If you want to be extra careful, you can buy a Hambini bottom bracket and use it in this ELVES frame if you're worried about it falling out. I have built my bike. This is the USA. All right, this is the USA ELVES rep bicycle right here that he sent out to me and paid for to get built. I had no issues with this as well. He had the normal stock bottom bracket from ELVES. This was a SRAM. The hell? What the hell? This is the SRAM dub version of the press fit bottom bracket stock from them. And that went in nice as well, threaded into each other. I also had another customer bring me into their ELVES frame that they bought through ELVES directly. They installed a NovaTride OSPW as well, same exact as mine. Installed it very great. It worked fine, no issues. A very tight fit as well, even though I didn't check with the caliper for the BB because my job is to build a bicycle up. That's why the warranties are in place. That's why the manufacturer's there. Issues will arise in this world when you mass produce things in every single company. That's why there's warranties in place. But again, I had no issues there. And I also built up a pink one of these as well. A pink ELVES FALATH EVO with no issues. And I put about 1,000 miles on mine and I have no issues as well. I mentioned before that a PF30 bottom bracket in this video and also in plenty of other videos is a weird bottom bracket configuration size. In a world where everything is now BSA threaded and seems like companies are choosing reliability over innovation, why wouldn't you use FALATH either? A PF30 was really used for mountain bikes and the brands I used to sell back in the day, like Specialized along with PF30 bottom brackets. But it just doesn't seem like it's going to have, I don't know, it's a weird call to me. But I've installed them. I've used them. They work good. So that was my take on it. I figure I just kind of let you guys go ahead and talk about it. I know it's 8 minutes long. I'm sorry. But I had to address the diaper bike scandal because if I made a 1,000 mile review on it, I was going to release it that day. Why not show it off? But I do think that the paint job is great. I think that the frame is a great price point for it as well. And yeah, I'm sure that there will be some frames from ELVES that are worse and have worse tolerances here. Again, things go wrong in this world. So not everything will be perfect and this is going to happen. So just keep that in mind. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this rant. And hopefully you guys enjoy the 1,000 mile review on the goods and the bads. Thank you. Hey, how's it going, everyone? GC Performance here, back with my video. And this is my 2023 ELVES FALATH EVO, and this is my 1,000 mile road bike review of this bicycle. You guys had a lot of questions to me, sent me a lot of DMs, a lot of comments in the YouTube section saying how this bicycle ride. I've seen some other YouTubers do videos on it, but I want to give you guys my honest opinion on this bicycle. First and foremost, for transparency reasons, ELVES did send out this frame set and handlebar to me for free, but I supplied my own group set and wheels, and I got my chances to ride this bicycle for a good while before I said anything on this bicycle. So I want to be as honest and transparent as you guys to let you guys know how this bicycle rides. And why would I give you guys my honest opinion on it? Because of the fact that it is a full-on aero road race bike, and we are so flat over here in Florida, I figured this bicycle is perfect for down here. So we're gonna go through this video, talk about my first impressions of the bicycle, price point of this bicycle. I'll talk about the good things I like about this bike, and then also I'll talk about the bad things about this bike as well. So stay tuned, stick around. I'll put little chapters down below of if you guys want to skip ahead to the video. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. All right, so let's talk about this bicycle. What is this bicycle? It is made by the company ELVES, and it is their FALATH EVO model, and it's their full-on aero road bicycle. They have it with an integrated bar and stem combination cockpit that you can buy with purchase as well. This frame retails for $1,300 and is UCI legal. It literally has enough deep tube sections on this bicycle to do what kind of aero training you want on the bicycle. If you do buy this bicycle with the one-piece bar and stem at checkout, that bar that's $280 becomes $110. So it brings you to the total of $1,210 for this bicycle. It comes in an array of different colors. I chose this white with kind of a chameleon bronze to green finish. If we go over here, yeah. Has like a greenish look to it, which I'll show you guys later on. It has, you also can do a custom painting on this for $50 more as well, which is a insane offer that they allow on this bicycle. But again, this is a bicycle that you can use for crit racing, you can use in UCI events, or if you just wanted a beautiful, all-out affordable race bike on there, you have this option. It can fit up to a 32C tire, that's what it says, but I've seen people do crazy gravel setups on these things. It is a press fit 30 bottom bracket, which we'll talk about in the things I don't like later on down the road. And obviously, the look of it. It's a very cool looking bike. If you are able and comfortable enough to slam this bicycle, the stem will be level with the top tube on here, and it will look very badass. I, by that means, am not able to do so. So that is my stake right there. The seat post as well is just like in any aero bike. It has a kind of this arrow shape, but it lacks the D-foil shape. It's literally just like, looks like a 2x4, a rectangle, which we'll talk about the vertical compliance later on in the video. Also, with the ELVES FALATH EVO, you do get a limited 5-year warranty, which you get like a nice little black card with. That is offered to the original purchaser of the bicycle. So not only are you getting a really nice warranty system with this company, but also you're getting a very affordable price. And everyone always worries about longevity of these companies that offer such great deals on these bicycles. Yes, ELVES is like one of those cheap, affordable Chinese bikes, but they do have an extremely nice, affordable price point of a bicycle on there. And just to let you guys know too, before I give you guys my ride feel of this bicycle, I rode this bicycle with before the Elite D65 wheel set. It was a 65mm deep dish wheel with a 700 by 25C tire at 110 PSI. That setup was very stiff, already on a stiff bicycle, which we'll talk about in just a second. So before I give you guys my overall feel on it, I was able to swap out these wheels to these Pertual wheels. These are 52, 58 rim setup with a 700 by 28C Grand Prix 5000 STR tire, and they are TPU tubes, and I'm now running at 80 PSI to maybe make it a little bit more compliant on there. Okay, so I got the best of both worlds. I've done some rides where I got dropped this bicycle, and I've done some of my fastest rides I've done in a long time on this bicycle as well. So you guys get the overall greatness experience of this bike. And just for reference on here, what I'm running on this bicycle, it is the 105 Di2 12-speed electronic Di2 group set with a 1x setup, obviously for South Florida. That is the Alu Gear chainring with their kind of cover piece for that cranks on there. It's a 50-tooth chainring. I do still have the Di2 wire inside that hole right there, so if I ever do want to run a front derailleur on there, I can. But I figured this bicycle was meant for one thing only: fast, flat rides. All right, so let's go over the good things. What I like about this bicycle. Obviously, one, the price point. You're getting an extremely nice frame for $1,300. The finish of the frame set, the paint quality, the holes finishing of the headset, the fork, the bottom bracket area, the seat post, everything on this bicycle was very nicely done, and even on the tubing as well, where everything makes contact at, like the derailleur hanger, was finished off very well. The ride quality of the bicycle is exceptional. It was a very fast bike, and it does exactly what it needs to do. It's stiff, it's rigid. When you put down power, the bicycle reacts how you want it to. You don't want any lag when you're putting on power. When you're pedaling up and down, you don't want the bike swaying back and forth. You want the bicycle to hold true, stay stiff, and when you put down power, you want it to react, which is exactly what this does. It holds speed very well at high-end speeds. We do group rides down here on flat surfaces. Over 60 miles, we're going about 200 feet of elevation, so that's no elevation at all. We're anywhere from 26 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour, and the faster this bike goes, the more you feel like the less you feel like you're working. You're pedaling without any resistance. It holds really well, especially if you're behind someone. It holds speed very, very well, obviously with some deep dish wheels as well. The setup on the 1x handlebar and stem as well is paired very nicely. It's the Arome carbon cockpit. I opted for a 42 by 110, and it's a very wide, stiff bar. The drops are actually a lot of room. You can see here it actually hangs out very far. It is very, I would say, wide down here, but narrow up here, similar to like a Shimano Pro Vibe. But it does the job very good, and I feel like it's pretty comfortable in that cockpit area. Also, another thing I like about this bicycle are color options. We all know people like options in terms of when they're buying a bicycle. This is an expensive decision. They don't want to be stuck with just a boring black. If you want to choose a boring black, give them the option to choose a boring black plus 8 other colors. So ELVES does a really good job with their color schemes. And if you don't like anything they have to offer, like I said, for just only $50 more, you can get a complete custom-made full-on bike. You guys like my Spider-Man pose? But this chameleon is one of the nicest chameleons I've seen in a long time. The copper accents my copper 1x chain and the Nova to Ride OSPW very well. And the bicycle looks phenomenal. I'm very happy with this bicycle. The tubing on it is great. I feel like they really did utilize the 3-to-1 UCI rule. You're seeing a ton of pro teams use these in UCI races. You're seeing people try to break world records. I think I saw David Arthur do a bit on a gentleman who had like a TT setup on this bicycle. I've seen other people who made this bicycle into a TT. They took the seat post and flipped it around and put TT bars in here. So it's a very versatile bike in that option. I heard other YouTubers use it for a climbing bike as well, given what kind of wheels you're going to choose on there. But there are a ton of good things about this bicycle, obviously being the price point as one of them. And now for the parts that I did not like about this bicycle, and this is me being just extremely honest. And over the 1,000 miles, I have a ton of references of other bikes that I've ridden. I have other people that reach out to me on Instagram as well with their qualms or their loves of this bicycle. So all the feedback I get, plus my own on this bicycle, I'm going to take you guys through the journey of the mishaps with the mechanicals and also just the ride quality on this bike. All right, so first and foremost is the sizing of this bicycle. This ELVES FALATH EVO is classified as a medium, a size 54. I myself am 6 foot. Typically on every other bike brand out there, I'm usually a size large, a 56. But for some reason on their geometry wise, a medium of 54 sits me very well. This is for my seat height as well. And also just the top tube of this bicycle is very large. So the sizing on this bicycle is kind of confusing. And I had a ton of people ask me questions just in general, what size fit they should get on this bike. Obviously, again, it's an expensive purchase. We want to make sure that we get the right size for these bicycles, but I always told these people to go ahead and check with their local fitters just to make sure. I mean, what's the case to get a $60 fit just to make sure you get the right size bike? Or if you have to spend a little bit more money and spend the $200 to just get a right fit, it's still a good investment to make sure it's the right size bike. But the sizing was just weird. Like I said, I first opted in for a large when I spoke with ELVES when they reached out to me. And then after I saw Cam Nichols' video where he had a size down, I would do the same thing, and the 54 fits me perfectly. So if you are looking at these bicycles, in this model in particular, the ELVES FALATH EVO, whatever size you usually are, I will typically go off and say you'll be pretty safe to size down, and it'll fit you as a true size fit. Second thing that was pretty weird to me, it really isn't a bad thing because I had actually really good feedback from this bottom bracket. This is a Nova to Ride OSPW, but the bottom bracket that they chose to run for the system is a PF30. It's kind of outdated. They used to use PF30s a lot back in the day for mountain bikes. You just don't see anyone doing it anymore. You're seeing a lot more people go to threaded BBs or more traditional styles, PF86, whatever the case might be. But a PF30 kind of threw me off. So the good thing is that ELVES does include a ceramic bottom bracket for the bicycle when you check out. You just have to click what crank compatibility you choose. But if you are putting in your own ceramic BB and you want to change out, it is confusing to make sure you get a PF30, or maybe you might be limited to the brands that might make a PF30 still because they are kind of outdated, like I said. I'm going on to my next point. The front brake on here, when I first put this on, I couldn't get it to stop rubbing no matter what it was. I was having issues with it. It wasn't setting up right, so I just figured that the holes where this makes contact at needed to be resurfaced or refaced. So we did that, but it still was an issue. There's actually, come to find out, a piece of paint or a carbon burr that was kind of sticking out and hitting against this bracket for the brake. So we had to sand that down, and once we sanded that down, it fit flawlessly. But this was the only case in terms of it. My bike was pretty early to this as well, so I didn't hear anyone else with a front brake issue on here, but this was my first kind of case on that myself. So, and trust me, I'm a very skilled mechanic. I really don't see that issue at all, to be honest with you. And it was an easy fix, but if I did pay the money for the bicycle, I'd be upset. Where in this case, I got it for free, so I just kind of ran the bicycle as is, and there wasn't an issue for it at all. And then a little weird one again, but this is just kind of out of the normal to me. The plug for the bar tape on here, as you can see, is kind of like sitting there, kind of skewed out, was so tight that I could barely fit in tape in there. So I actually had to shove that bar tape inside of there, just very little, and kind of cut off the edges. I don't know if, again, this was just my case on the bar, or maybe it's just this brand of bar tape on here, but it was an issue for me. So it looks ugly again. If this was my customer's bike, I wouldn't do them to them, but because it's just me and it's only me riding it, I really didn't mind that matter. But it was something to take note on. I did have a little bit of seat post slippage on there, but that's because of the fact that we did drop the seat post a couple times and move the seat post up and down to change them out to let my other friends ride it who are very curious about this bicycle. So maybe just not them tightening down the torque spec, maybe me getting it down and tightening up in a rush. There's always that kind of issue in that matter, but I've gotten it down now and it really isn't that big of a deal. Also, the top cap plate that went on top of here, it's a little 3mm bolt that would screw into this 4mm to cover up this seat binder wedge. That got stripped out pretty easily, so I just threw that whole top cap off completely. Again, to me, not a big deal, but to the consumer, obviously, if you pay that kind of money for this bicycle, you would want it to be flawless. And last but not least is the ride quality, what my ride felt on this bicycle. I mentioned before in the goods how stiff this bicycle was, how true it was, how it held top end speed very well. But the downside to that, the 30, the 20, and the 40-mile rides were good. The days I pushed it over that, the 60 to 65-mile rides, I rode this bicycle recently on a 65-mile ride with these wheels actually, and it was a very fast ride in some heavy wind, and I got worked on the bicycle, not because of the wind, but because of how stiff the bike was after that 60-mile mark. I don't do a lot of 60-mile rides because, and this is also subjective to each rider, but to me, on a 60-mile ride on this bicycle, I just noticed that it beat my body up very, very much. More so than any other bike that I've ridden on in a long time. Aero bikes are traditionally known to do so. They have these deep aerofoil tubes, but this bike in general, the seat post on here looks like a 2x4. It literally looks like a plank of wood. So sitting on top of that bicycle, even the offset doesn't really kind of go behind the bicycle. It's literally lined up right here with all of these kind of squared, tapered tubes on there. You don't get a lot of forgiveness. Now I run this seat on all my bicycles, and comfort can always be kind of governed, meaning with what tires you run, what wheels you run, what pressure you run, what size you run, all that stuff like that. Again, I'm using TPU tubes. But for that ride, I rode 700 by 28C tires with a TPU tube at 85 PSI. And this is a seat I always ride, and I'm telling you, my butt was killing me, my hands were killing me, my shoulders were killing me. Everything about this bicycle was so rigid. The vertical compliancy really lacks in this bicycle. But again, it's nothing you can't get used to if you bought this bicycle, but just pointing out there that it is stiffer than normal than other bikes. It's not, if you're looking for comfort on this bicycle, and you're like, I'm looking to be comfortable bike and I don't really care about performance, this probably isn't it. If you're looking for a very fast, affordable bicycle that can do crit races, fast group rides, or even just mess around with your friends, this is a really good bike. You can definitely get used to the vertical stiffness on this bicycle. The more and more you ride, the more and more you get comfortable on it. And if you're ever so lucky to go ahead and slam this down here and be level this top tube, it will look very nice. The top tube is very wide. I noticed other YouTubers saying that they noticed that their knees were hitting when riding the bicycle or more than others, and it wasn't very burden. To me, I really didn't notice that. I'm gonna get on this bike real quick. I'm about to show you guys something real quick. I'll show you guys a POV. To me, I really didn't have that issue. Yeah, I'm going out here. The bicycle just, it rides very, very, very nice. It holds speed very nice. It handles very nice. When you're riding at, like I mentioned, when you're riding those top end speeds, it handles very well. It doesn't feel wobbly at all, which I very, very like. So in all honesty, it's a great bicycle that has small little quirks to work out, but in terms of price per value, it is a tremendous buy. So I'm gonna wrap up with a conclusion, and I'll see you guys in just a second. So in conclusion, who is this bicycle for, and should you buy this bicycle? I think this bicycle, the ELVES FALATH EVO, being at $1,300 and being on sale right now for $1,100, is a very competitive buy for a frame set to do a build up on in any case. It doesn't matter if you're looking for a race bike, a new bike, or even just an everyday bike. That price point for anyone, it's a bike that you can add to your quiver if you want to, or it could be a startup journey into the sport cycling. For that type of money, you're getting a very affordable price aero road bike that can compete with a ton of aero bikes out there. You won't be hindered by performance, in all honesty, if someone has an S-Works or a Trek Madone compared to this bicycle. Literally, you have a really good price point bike out there that you have a lot of options on build points and colorways. You're getting backed by a really good company as well for 5 years. And again, I don't even sell this bicycle in my store. I just was really surprised on this bike. If you're looking for a very stiff, fast reacting bicycle, I think it's a really good option. So I absolutely have enjoyed my time on this bicycle. I will be keeping it. I might strip it down and paint it myself and do an experiment later on down the road with it. But I would be, all said and done, I would be thrilled if I spent the $1,300 for this frame set. Whether it be mechanical, electronic, however you want to build this bicycle up, I'll be very thrilled and happy with how I spent my money and the performance I got out of it. Dollar to value for performance. It is a great bicycle. And yeah, the only thing I can work on is just vertical compliancy. And in all honesty, that can be kind of fixed with different saddles, different fit adjustments, and also different tire specs. Maybe tubeless at 60 PSI, who knows? But the bicycle sprints like a dream. Thank you guys to everyone who watches. I'll give you guys some B-roll sprint footage of this thing as well. I'll set this thing up. Yeah.